Good morning and welcome everybody to our webinar, Digital Transformation. Those words can elicit a lot of fear in many people because these words have not really been explained. There's no map being given to us as to how to go about starting the digital transformation journey. In a book that was published in 1994, it says, a Coca-Cola bottle, a samurai sword, a Rolls-Royce, and a prehistoric stone tool are linked not because simply they are products of technology, but also because each is a symbol invested with meaning. These objects allow us not only to do things, but to say things about who we are, what we value, and our place in society. So tech is simply allowing us the tools to accomplish what we set out to accomplish. In our previous webinars last year, we had a series of webinars called Beyond Collaboration. We also addressed the new landscape of food manufacturing and health and safety in the mining environment. And many companies are realizing the necessity of digitalization, but are often unsure as to where to begin. And that is the purpose of today's webinar. I'm going to introduce Dilli Naidu, CEO of Madala and Associates. In November last year, during the MISA International Summit, Dilli was voted best speaker out of 26 presenters, and he's been invited to present at their next international event in May. Dilli, over to you.
Thank you, Caroline, for those kind words. And may I also welcome all of you attending this morning's presentation and wish you, your families, and your business tremendous success during these challenging times. Caroline has done a fantastic job putting these webinar series together last year. And given the COVID-19 challenges, we expect to run a number of these webinars during. So as some of you may know, Caroline is a social emotional expert, and people is one of the most important component of both the business as well as the digital transformation journey. What I would like to do this morning is go beyond the digital transformation and share with you some of my personal observations on the impact of digital transformation in the global context. It's basically been a digital clash of civilizations. Up until right now, if you observe what's going in previous communist China, where the communism was supposedly gone, but we have a dictatorship, right now there's a revolution going. And a big use of the opposition party is using digital technology to mobilize this kind of movement. So there's a tremendous techno impact on society. And you could see from social media, communications. I'm married, so I'm not familiar with dating applications, but watching a documentary on Sunday, I was shocked of the positive as well as the negative impact of the use of dating sites, where women in particular are being violated. So it's a double-edged sword. It's similar to an analogy with a knife, which is very effective in your kitchen to cut the kind of things you need to cut in your kitchen, but you could also use a knife for vicious things like stabbing people. So we need to be very careful with how we use digital technology. Of course, the COVID-19 pandemic, we've seen a hyper acceleration of the use of digital technology, especially with remote home working and connectivity to the bigger organization. Digital technology has also been used for human expression. So the way people are feeling about things. You've seen some stuff recently in the US with the blue party and the red party, and the way people have been using digital technology to view their human expressions. So in terms of business, there's no doubt while you are doing digital transformation, the bigger picture is actually business transformation. And so how are you going to use digital technology as a key business enabler to thrive in this year and beyond? There is no doubt that COVID-19 has impacted almost every cousin business model, and businesses need to reposition and reformat their business models, and a huge impact on economic and financial impact. So most companies have been suffering from lower earnings, lower revenue. Operations have been impacted, supply chains have been impacted. So we cannot operate as before. We need to start seriously looking at new business models and looking at our products that were successful in the past, but based on changing customer behaviors, how do we reshape our product portfolios? Now, there is no good time. I'm never a believer in New Year's resolutions. I recently decided, I've been training and exercising for over 50 years of my life, tremendous training, like 2-hour sessions a day. But I also fell in the trap last year due to COVID-19, and I didn't train as much. So I set my goals on the 3rd of December, not in the new year, that within 6 weeks, I wanted to lose 2 kilos. And guess what? I've achieved that within 6 weeks. So digital transformation is exactly the same. You can buy all the software tools and the hardware, but if you don't change your model of operating and your behavior and creating a culture, you're not going to lose the kind of weight that I've just done. It's not a magic thing buying and subscribing to a membership and saying I'm going to lose weight. The same is true with digital transformation. You can't buy the tools and sit back and hope that these are going to achieve. So now is the time to prepare for the post-COVID-19 world. So I wanted to share with you some of the lessons that have been learned globally in some of the inhibitors. Based on global research, it is claimed that over 70% of digital transformations have failed. And this is a huge time, effort, cost to these companies. And what are the reasons for this? There's been a lack of executive sponsorship, leadership, commitment, and communications across the organization. Some of you may be aware, we focused and created a formula last year for organization integration. And that formula for you was IQ multiplied by EQ multiplied by SQ times DQ gave you organization integration. There's been a lack of cross-organization collaboration. These digital projects have been done just in silos with the same people, and they have not involved people across the entire organization, including human resources and not just IT. Big issues has been how to use and integrate the technologies to existing applications. In some cases, there's been a lack of budget, lack of internal knowledge of how to integrate the new technology with existing processes and the employees. There's tons of data all over. So how you have the interoperability of the tons of data that does not mesh together. New partnerships need to be established with what we call resultants as opposed to consultants. You know what needs to be done, but it's not a matter of calling in more consultants to tell you what's to be done. So companies like Medalla Rifle Shot have coined the term resultants. So you need to look at how do you complement your internal team with outside experience resultants. There is no doubt that digital transformation is all about people. The technology is only one component. You can buy technology, but you cannot buy employee commitment and engagement. So you need to start as a guideline by doing what's necessary as part of your roadmap. Then you look at what's possible, and it's quite amazing. Suddenly you'd be doing the impossible if you start building the right collaboration and the teams together. You have to treat data as a real asset and convert the data to information and insight so you can make future decisions. You need to communicate and automate across the business and the value chains, internally as well as supply and value chains. You're going to learn a new term today called OLA. It's not an ice cream, OLA. And all of this has to have an impact on the overall labor effectiveness. And the formula for this is A times P times Q. A being availability times performance times quality. So ultimately, by doing this digital transformation in your new business model, if you're not achieving the labor effectiveness, then you're wasting your time putting in all this technology. I'm now going to hand over to Jesse Hogan. Jesse is a native of Brazil. He is the CEO of international sales for SoftExpert, who is a partner with Rifle Shot. SoftExpert has been in the market for over 25 years. Jesse hails from Brazil, but he's currently based in Liverpool in the UK. So Jesse, thank you for getting up early this morning and joining us. I know it's -1 in Liverpool this morning. Jesse has been involved in a number of transformation as well as digitalization projects in both the public and private sector. So with that, I'd like to hand over to Jesse, who's going to share with you some of the successes in both the public and private sector. Jesse, over to you.
Thank you, Dilly. Thank you, everyone, to participate in this webinar. So let's go to the success case. The first one is a very huge project. It's being performed by the federal government of Brazil. So the main goal is to digitalize all the services, government services, to available to the citizens. So this is the first thing they define as a strategy, because of the main benefits that the digitalization of services may bring to the federal government and to the citizens. So it's a win-win situation, because the government deliver more efficient services to the population, cheaper, and the citizen, they have access to public services from the comfort of their home at any time of the day. So this is one of the reasons that the federal government did that project as a strategic project for the whole government, in sense of improve the services to the main population, and also have some savings from the federal government. So today, when they start that project, the federal government, they have about 3,800 services available to the citizens. So it's a lot of services. And then the main target is to digitalize all those services. So these services, they are previously just accessed by face-to-face channel. So the citizens have to travel, they have to take transports, stand in line, withdraw passwords to get attended. So now they have those services available in the palm of the hand through a mobile phone or a computer. So that's the main goal. So improve the service, make it available for the citizens, and avoid all this travel and the time waste, and with in the whole country. So Brazil is about 210 million people, and then are the potential user of those services. So in less than 2 years, they achieve the landmark of 1,000 services digitalized. So it's a huge achievement. So from those 3,800, in less than 2 years, they were able to make available to the citizens 1,000 of those services online in a portal that the government made available to those citizens. So currently, the portal have 81 million people using it. And after they start this digitalization, the average access on the web page, on the portal, jumped from 4 million to 15 million. So this was from January to September of the same year, 2020. So this was a huge achievement for the federal government. So they create this digital strategy with the main target of this serve better the Brazilian citizens, and also saving money and time. So they estimate to save 2 billion on this digital transformation. And from this out of this 2 billions, 1.5 billion is saving for the society by eliminating the need of users to go to public agencies, spend time on transportation, for example. So and the government itself is going to save more than 500 million per year just by creating these digital services. So the government, you eliminate the bureaucracy, the reducing your use of paper. So one of the main things to reduce the number of paper, reduce the bureaucracy, hiring personnel, because if you need to have face-to-face meetings to get those services sorted, so we need to have more people, more personnel working, and reduce the loss due to errors and also fraud detection. So it's easy when you have the service digitalized. So that were the main benefits they achieve. So the strategies, they start from 2020 to 2025, and the target is to save 38 billions with this digitalization service. So what they have, what the numbers they have so far. So according to the government calculation, about approximately 150 million hours are saving by the citizens each year by reducing the bureaucracy and travel. So this is equivalent to a full day of work of entire economically active population of a greater São Paulo. So São Paulo is a 20 million inhabitant city. So that is the saving on time. So so in the same time, the same period, they avoid to receive around 88 million calls. So they are not necessary because the user can just go to their mobile, start a service, start a claim, or start any type of digital service with no need to call centers to get the problem sorted. So that was a huge success so far. And so just this year, the government saved 500 millions from putting this, so to make available those digital services to the Brazilian citizens. So this was a huge project. Of course, this is not being made just by one company. Soft Expert, that the company I represent, is working on a part of this huge project. We have many competitors of ours working the same for the government. So this is a huge project. It's take for many companies to help the government to digitalize those services and make available to the main citizens. So this is one of the public sector. I guess is one of the biggest projects in progress in the world today. Now I have a private institution, a educational institution. So SER is an educational institution in Brazil, and they, just to have an idea of the size of this institution or this company, they are present in 12 Brazilian states. So you know Brazil is a huge country, and they are present in 12 of those 26 Brazilian states. And they have more than 151,000 students. So and they have 90 different locations, so different cities where they have business units or schools, and 151,000 students. So can you imagine the number of documents, paper they need to handle every year? So in order to save and to provide better service to their students, they start this project to digitalize the services provided to the students and to the internal customers as well. But also as a challenge, because there is a new regulation that demands them to have that digitalization in place. So not just the pressure of the efficiency of services, but also the regulation asks them to change, and they have to do this project in 15 months. They have like a deadline to deliver those services. So the idea is to automate all the processes that handle academic documents. So they want to implement the digitalization, indexation, publication of documents, image, and make those documents and image available to internal processes. So can you imagine they have different 90 different locations where they have to collect from students like IDs, certificates, many documents they need to add to the student profile. So they create a kind of portfolio for every student where they have to handle that locally. But these 90 locations, they are not integrated, so they need to integrate those locations, and they have to have a single portal where every student or customer can get access to those apps digitally and submit their documentation. So this is one thing. So one thing is to start to use a digital process. The other thing is the legacy. So let's check some of the numbers. So they have 110 different archives. So those 110 archives, they are spread all over the country. So they have thousands of boxes with paper, 25 million documents in paper. This is the legacy they have to digitalize, to make that content, to make that documentation available for the process. Because the process itself, you consume that information. So they have to make that information available for the process, for the internal user that's going to handle the process and automate some of those processes. They have 390 different types of documents. So can you imagine? They have to have a taxonomy, they have to have a very intelligent way to digitalize that information. They have to capture metadata to make this information easy to find and use them on the process. And also they have this deadline, so they have just 15 months to get all these physical files in a digital way. So they have this bottleneck. So they achieve that target. So what they have now, they have all these document and image and the process that automate and handle and orchestrate that content available to them was a huge impact on the organization in terms of efficiency and customer satisfaction with the services. Then this task is split in 3 different ways. The first thing is to capture the content. Second is digitalization of content that they have, the legacy. So they use, this is a combination of software and hardware where they have to have scanners to digitalize. Those scanners have to a massive task of reading, digitalizing those content, extract metadata, so information, and make it available online. And then they have process that you orchestrate those content internally according to the process they mapped and according to the type of document that's necessary to specific processes. So basically there are 3 parts they have to do: the capture, digitalization, and automate by using process. I guess Mike, later on you talk more about how those things can be achieved, but these are 2 huge tasks, one in the government and another one the private sector, where they achieve successfully this digitalization, and they are now very happy, and the level of satisfaction of those customers are really better right now, and the efficiency it's much better. So you can imagine the benefits for society, because many cars are taken out of the street because people doesn't need to go to a physical place to perform a specific task. So there is that's good for the environment, less pollution, it's for the traffic and for people health and for the society in general. So digitalization, when it's successful, it's really full of benefits for society and for organizations, public and private organizations. So that is how, I guess, Mike, now you talk about how we can achieve digitalization. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. I think those were 2 excellent examples. The Brazilian federal government, I mean, it's quite a mammoth, huge project. And being a South African and understanding our bureaucracy and the challenges that we're having around just COVID-19 in terms of educating the population through tools that you shared with us, especially around enterprise content management and having all that in a portal and changing their business processes. I hope there's people in the audience from the public sector and government, and we would like to share some of those experiences in a very large, one of the largest federal projects in the world. And as Jesse said, it's just not one organization, it's a collaboration with other stakeholders. It so happens my granddaughter is 9 years old, and I spent 2 weeks with her in Cape Town. And she was telling me, Tata, I'm doing all my education now online. So it'll be very interesting to understand where she is fortunate that she's going to a private school and they have the tools and the technology and the means to achieve this. But a country like ours, where we have both a first and a second world environment or third world environment, there are challenges where we have a number of students who don't have the means to go online. So these are some of the ways we should be looking at addressing how we use other means of getting digitally connected students in those underprivileged environments. Thank you, Jesse. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Mike Smith. Mike is a senior business management consultant with Rifle Shot Performance Holdings. Mike has been in business for over 45 years, both locally and globally, wealth of experience. He's a champion of business processes, and in particular, business process and quality management. Mike in his spare time also likes fast bikes, fast cars, and is a musician. Mike is the product manager and senior consultant representing the Soft Expert suite of products in South Africa for Rifle Shot. What Jesse showed you was some of the success stories. Mike is going to share with you some guidelines in terms of how to go about on your digital journey. So Mike, over to you.
Thank you, Dilly, and thanks also to Jesse. After so much doom and gloom surrounding digital transformation and the incessant blah blah, it is good to know that there are some who have managed to be successful in implementing their digital transformation programs. So what have we learned from these examples, and what are some of the essential steps we should consider incorporating into a digital transformation program in order to be successful? In my presentation, I will be covering the following: a look at digital transformation in terms of value creation, some of the challenges and opportunities of digital transformation, the importance of starting with a clear business strategy, using business processes to maximize outcomes, exploring the role of data analytics, underlining the need for successful pilot projects, touching on the importance of reliable assets, looking at change management across the enterprise, highlighting the need for a corporate culture, the role of our VIPs, that is to say our people, in digital transformation, then lastly, selecting the right tool for the job. I have a question for you. What is the first image that comes to mind when you hear the phrase digital transformation? Does your business look something like this? Before we consider digital transformation, do we even know what we're doing and why? Are we even properly organized? And then on top of it all, somebody comes along and says, you should be using mobile, cloud, the Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, a digital twin, augmented reality, robotic process automation, augmented reality, 3D printing, etc., etc. But these are just tools designed to streamline specific types of activities, usually within a specific department or as part of your primary value chain. What about the rest of the activities in an organization? What about corporate strategy and performance? What about governance, risk and compliance management, project management, and so on? And what about process improvement? Remember the caveat, garbage in, garbage out. Where is the value in that? Although numerous digital technologies are being implemented across a wide variety of industry sectors, most of them are falling short in producing real value to the organization in terms of improving organizational and operational performance and efficiency, reducing risk and cost of regulatory compliance, combating bribery and corruption, improving quality of service and customer satisfaction, maintaining corporate and brand reputation, maximizing profitability, sustainability, and growth, and creating value for all stakeholders. So, what are we doing wrong? Put simply, we need to change our mindset. According to Accenture, digital transformation initiatives are rapidly gaining momentum and could add $14.2 trillion to the global economy by 2030. Unfortunately, a recurring phenomenon with many so-called digital transformation initiatives is what is termed pilot purgatory, where companies are unable to identify and measure the results of early digitalization investments. When pursuing their digital transformation strategies, many organizations end up focusing purely on the primary value chain and forgetting about the rest of the company. More often than not, they also fail to define, plan, and control their business transformation program properly. The transition to full digitalization also means more than just switching to automated processes, since a full transition by definition necessarily affects the entire organizational ecosystem. Consider a typical organization. The organization takes in various inputs and, using its resources and core processes, produces outputs in the form of goods, services, profits, ideas, effects, or influences for the benefit of its stakeholders. A business does not operate in a vacuum, however, and inevitably it has to operate in accordance with various policies, standards, regulations, and environmental constraints. And here I'm not talking about the physical environment, I'm referring to the business environment. For example, statutory legislation, socio-economic factors, shortage of skills, technology, and so on. The long-term success of a business transformation initiative, as opposed to piecemeal digital transformation, typically has profound implications on how a company should be organized, changing everything from governance, business models, and strategies, from existing projects and talent management, right through to supply chain and other stakeholder relations. Fortunately, there are ways of streamlining this journey, whilst at the same time dramatically increasing the chances of getting positive results. Knowing where to start is one of the biggest questions, and I would suggest the following. Begin by evaluating current digital maturity versus where the company needs to be. Define the targets and actions required to overcome gaps. Prioritize actions that will contribute the most value to the business and ensure they are aligned with the overall business strategy. Answering these questions can help you establish your business transformation strategy. How is the market behavior shifting, and what do I need to change in response? How can improved collaboration with business partners, suppliers, and customers benefit me? What is the maturity level of my current resources? It is also critical to obtain commitment to this approach from leaders and ensure that everyone in the company is aware of this. Companies need to count on precise strategies to achieve the future they desire. They need to start their journey slowly, evolving step by step until full transformation is achieved. Although there are plenty of tools supporting digital workflows in most organizations, they are often characterized by a low level of sophistication and also lack the level of integration required to value to the organization as a whole. The business transformation concept goes further than simple automation of the value chain. It integrates all departments and disciplines in the company, such as product development, sales, projects, quality, IT, risk, finance, customer service, etc. It should also include integration with customers and the supply chain, as this can strongly impact relationships with customers and suppliers, improving workflows and promoting delivery of better quality products and services at lower costs. By integrating data from customers, suppliers, projects, engineering, production, and the business as a whole, the C-suite is also able to gain an holistic view of the entire supply chain process. By acting as a fully integrated unit, the company can also quickly and easily identify shortcomings, what works, what doesn't work, where improvement is needed, and what solutions are possible. When the whole company is interconnected, everyone works more efficiently. When you are aware of the attributes and levels of performance of processes within a department, you are also in a better position to deliver value into the next department. When orchestrated properly, the business ecosystem generates a wide range of data that can be used to improve performance and productivity. Without the use of analytics, however, tracking poor performance and inefficiencies can be exceedingly difficult, if not impossible. When properly planned, however, analytics can offer meaningful insights, revealing opportunities to optimize operations and improve productivity, energy efficiency, etc. Some key points are: define and develop an effective data analytics strategy, learn how to get value out of data using real-time analytics to tailor products to customers and continually improve your processes. Consider how you can best organize and present data analytics. Cross-functional expert teams are a good first step. Such capabilities can later be embedded as a standalone function in your organization. Conducting successful pilot projects is an important step in preventing the aforementioned pilot purgatory. Pilot projects are perhaps one of the most important aspects for embarking on a business transformation initiative. They can help you to demonstrate value to the business and foster management buy-in. Some projects might not succeed, but they are nevertheless crucial to understanding and identifying the best approach going forward. Projects that do succeed will help you gain the trust of leaders and help to get approval for new resources for other initiatives. Very important, begin with a small scope, rapid turnaround projects that can be quickly measured. Many companies have achieved successful results also through the use of cross-functional teams. When working with a diverse range of staff dedicated to a pilot project, cross-functional teams are able to think outside the usual limits of a single department or discipline, and hence are able to identify new directions and ways of working. IT and HR people, for example, should be a part of the team because of the role they play in supporting projects. You could also establish partnerships with universities and other skilled organizations to help you streamline and speed up digital innovation projects. To achieve and sustain improvements in business and operational efficiency, organizations require reliable equipment, including IT assets and services. In defining an enterprise asset management program, these steps should be considered. Number 1, define asset criticality. All equipment, including software and licenses, should be classified, especially items that are critical and important to both operations and corporate performance. Number 2, establish maintenance plans according to criticality. Failures, their causes and potential damage need to be identified for critical assets. This will help guide the development of repair solutions as well as proactive mitigation strategies. Preventive and corrective maintenance strategies should be defined for all classes of equipment. Number 3, consider the environment. The environment where equipment is operated and stored can affect a maintenance program. A poorly planned maintenance program can interrupt operations and service delivery, making for unsatisfied customers and other stakeholders. To enjoy the full benefits of business transformation, your company will need to make significant changes to practices and attitudes. Change management is the organization and coordination of adjustments to company strategies and structures in response to changing conditions of the industry and stakeholders, with the goal of reaching maximum efficiency and effectiveness of the change process, as well as the highest acceptance possible from the parties involved. Guidelines for change, therefore, need to come from the top, through commitments from the C-suite, stakeholders, and other leaders. Employees will also be required to change the way they think and act. They will need to be open to trying out and learning new ways of working, adapting to a new digital context. As an initiative, there is no clear start and end point with business transformation. But those who embrace this journey will need to improve and reinvent their capabilities continually if they wish to remain in the game. Change management must become part of the day-to-day business. The competition can copy everything, including products, processes, and even strategies. Yet each company's culture is unique and cannot be replicated. It represents perhaps the most important competitive advantage for an organization. Plenty of companies prioritize other aspects of business transformation and forget to review, develop, and maintain a corporate culture. This occurs for a few reasons. A lack of awareness of the importance of culture in the sustainable development of companies, a lack of vision, measures, and solutions to develop a corporate culture, and a lack of persistence in the cultural development process. Business transformation may require major changes to a company's practices and structures, one of which is the implementation of a digitally oriented culture. It represents a key value in improving competitiveness, growing sustainably, and increasing profitability. But developing and maintaining the corporate culture can only happen with committed leadership. There's a general misconception that business transformation will steal work from people and that low-skilled jobs will be at stake. This does not have to be the case. Smart companies create new opportunities. Business transformation will challenge people, it is true. Yet it will also allow them to be more efficient. And in order to achieve this, companies will need to train their current workforce. This includes getting people to understand how the company is shifting and how they can be part of the change and benefit from it. Transformation will also often require people to work on new and often complex activities, and may also demand additional resources such as process developers, data scientists, digital innovation managers, IT solution architects, business analysts, etc. Success on this journey may require particular knowledge and skills, so organizations should also establish strategies for hiring and developing employees with digital skills. So far, I've covered 8 essential areas in terms of what we need to do to increase the chances of success in our business transformation journey. This is all well and good, but the metaphorical elephant in the room is the how. Part of this answer is obviously to use the right software tools. I'd like to introduce to you one such tool, Soft Excellence Suite. It has the key features of being web-based, no development is required, ensuring rapid deployment through simple user configuration. It comes as a suite of tightly integrated business applications, providing a one-stop single vendor solution. It provides a single unified workplace for all users with a common interface style, making it easy to learn and use. Remote access enables increased collaboration, productivity, and reliability 24/7. SE Suite lowers the cost of software licensing, training, and maintenance compared with traditional multi-vendor utilities. But, and it's a big but, software is only part of the answer. To be successful, most clients will need a trustworthy business transformation partner. And I will now hand over to Dilly to complete the picture for you.
Thank you, Mike, for a very comprehensive guideline and roadmap to achieve both business as well as digital transformation. Caroline, I believe you want to share a little video with us before I go through a summary and concluding remarks.
Thank you, Dilly. This is about when technology does not meet your needs. Enjoy.
Playing jazz.
Playing jazz.
Smoothie.
Making smoothie.
Calendar.
No meetings today. Remember, dentist at 9:30.
Fire off.
Fire off.
Open door.
Door open.
And we're gonna do one more.
Oh yeah. Open door.
Wrong voice command.
Open door.
Wrong voice command.
Open. Open door.
Repeat that.
Open door.
I didn't understand that.
Hey! Open door!
Play on the floor.
Get over the floor! Open the door!
Wrong
Open the
voice
door!
command. Error.
Hey, William. With a rock? Open door. Open door. Open door. Higher.
Higher volume.
Higher.
Higher.
Thank you, Caroline. So there's been a lot of talk of robotics, artificial intelligence, machine learning. So it can work for you or work against you. So we need to be very careful when we go to the dentist that it doesn't recognize our voice anymore. So what I'd like to do is to summarize some of the things that were shared by both Jesse as well as Mike in terms of planning your business and digital transformation strategy beyond 2021. Let's be upfront and honest. I know I attended a number of vendor presentations, and they make it as if digital transformation and business transformation is all about buying hardware and software. And it's really a fallacy. And I started off by giving some global stats. Greater than 70% have failed. So it's intimidating. It's a challenging process. So you need, besides the software and hardware, you need an experienced and trustworthy partner. As Mike shared, you need to start with small steps and have big wins. While you're looking at the big corporate goals, while you're looking at the small steps and the gains that you've made, the importance of moving from a proof of concept, but a proof of measurable and quantifiable value. And you need to test real-time scenarios as opposed to this stuff that you're doing in the lab. You need to validate those goals. and the need to accelerate the time to market. We've seen a lot of this, especially in the retail and online business. You've seen what's happened in that environment where a number of us were forced to go online in terms of purchasing our commodity products. You also need to plan for the next initiative and get executive sign-off of that proof of value to validate the next project within the organization. There is no doubt there's an increased age of competition while there's a disruption that's going on. So there's a need for business innovation. We've heard the term agility overused, but let's go back to basics about being flexible. We've heard the terms pivoted overused. Why don't we use the word transformation? It works. So don't get hung up on the fancy terms of pivoting and agility. Start focusing on transforming, reshaping, and refocusing. We also need to take into cognizance that most companies have got a number of legacy systems. There's existing systems that work. These are critical core applications. So while you're doing this, you need to mitigate the risk while you're transforming on those existing business applications. The new technology, together with the mission critical applications, must take into cognizance that you don't do any damage to your existing loyal customer base. So there's some summary of some success guidelines. You need to get senior executive sponsorship and sign off. You need to define, as Mike said, your digital roadmap in conjunction with your new business model. The change management plan, which includes the people side of things, the cross-functional collaboration. This cannot be overemphasized because we know as the organizations get larger, the silos get deeper, and the ability to move very quickly. Once you've demonstrated proof of value, how can you replicate? So build once, replicate many. And of course, the need to invest in talent, young talent. Again, I refer to my granddaughter. It was my wife's birthday. On the 13th of December, she plays the piano. She didn't know the notes for happy birthday. Guess what? She went to a mobile phone and she picked up the notes and sang happy birthday to us. Just incredible, a 9-year-old child. So being able to do that, so you need to invest in people who are young and are able to very quickly help you on the digital journey while you've got the mature, experienced people. At the same time, cybersecurity has increased, so you need to look beyond your firewalls. And last but not least, you need to build reliable and trusted partnerships with resultants like Medalla Rifle Shot. There's also the question about when do I start? The classical New Year resolutions. According to Zig Ziglar, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. So with that, it brings us to the end of this morning's session. Caroline, I believe while this has been going on, there's been a few polls, and there may be some questions that we can take now with Jesse, Mike, and myself.
Thank you, Dilly. I'd just like to share during Mike's presentation, we asked what is the first image that comes to mind when you hear the phrase digital transformation, and it does seem to be the double-edged sword that you were talking about earlier. Some of them were chaos and order, innovation and IP protection, and transform, reshape, and refocus. So, as you said, the knife can be used for good or for bad, and it's about the meaning and how it benefits us in particular that makes all the difference. We don't have any questions at this stage.
Thanks, Caroline. So
if I could just ask the audience to please have a look at the poll questions. There should be a poll button on your right-hand side. If you wouldn't mind participating in that, please, before you go.
So let's give the audience a short while to answer. And the question that I see, have you begun your digitalization journey, Caroline?
That's correct.
Okay, it's very interesting. The poll that I see, it's almost 100% just beginning. So there's a number of you on attendance who are just beginning the journey. So hopefully that this presentation, some of the successes that we shared with Jesse in some of those large organizations can be equally applied to smaller organizations. Together with the guidelines from Mike, we could help you while you are just beginning your digital journey. I see that Paul has dropped from 100% to 83% just beginning, and 16% well on our way. Okay, that's encouraging. So companies are already well on the way, 16% of the 100%. So we'd like to conclude by thanking all our attendees for taking the time. We trust this has been of value to you. We are here to help you on this journey. So please feel free to reach out to the team as well as Caroline. We'd like to thank all our speakers, in particular Jesse for making the time from the UK, where you've got -1 degree, to Mike, and Caroline for putting this webinar series together. So we would be, for the rest of the year, continuing on these series around both business transformation as well as digital transformation. So look out through social media, your emails, etc., for further invites from Rifle Shot. Caroline, go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt. We do have a question here from Schwab. He's asking, how do you convince a board whose strategy seems to be working to change tact and look at digital?
Yeah, so we can only share by our own experiences. So the one experience amongst many that we've been exposed through from Medalla Rifle Shot is the mining sector. As you know, if you look at companies like Anglo, they're over a century-year-old. Anglo is a 102-year company. So you can understand when they started from digging from pit to going to the ports where they go and send their coal and other commodities, guess what? They were doing it through a manual process at that time. The board was quite happy because they had very little competition and they were making lots of money and profitability to the stakeholders. Times have shifted since. So if you look at boards of those mining companies as one example, other than the other sectors, they have realized, and I use one example where we involved as Medalla Rifle Shot, is the safety environment. So if you had to issue permits to your employees, you did it a manual way. So we had to go and speak to those boards as part of your strategy. People are the most important component. So you cannot allow your people the kind of risks that they may not come out alive. So we move from manual paper-based system to an electronic system, a digital system. And in most of those companies we've implemented, there's almost been 0 fatalities. So you need to be able to demonstrate the value even before you've started on the journey. And a good way of doing that is to look at the kind of example that I've given you. And then that's one amongst many other examples. Jesse, you've got anything to add?
No, Dilly, thank you. Your answer was perfect.
Okay. Anything else, Caroline?
That's all for now. Thank you, Dilly, and thank you to everybody for attending.
Thank you all, and stay safe, and we look forward to hosting you on our next webinar series. Bye-bye for now.